Find out why I'm giving the Rokid Style just one more chance. One more. And the word you're looking for is blind. Stick with me. Hello there, and welcome to another episode of iCantCU, your window into a world where blindness doesn't dictate ability. My name is David, at David Benj, on all the socials. Thank you for joining me for this episode, number 299 of iCantCU, and welcome inside Studio B. As I mentioned the other day on White Canes Connect and Federation Focus, to my right, your left, very messy. Let's get right to it with the Rokid Styles. I have given them every chance, and just when I thought I wasn't going to use them again, something cropped up, and I thought, you know what, I will give them another try. I've taken them places where I really wanted to use them. They were complete fails. They wouldn't respond when I tried to do some voice-activated stuff. Hey, Rokid, blah, blah, blah. I even tried on the glasses just to record video. There's a button on the right frame, on the right arm. Wouldn't work. Could not get them to record. When I did get them to record, whether it was with the button or using my voice, I couldn't get them to stop recording. And I was just about done, and I realized that I've been having some issues with my phone, and maybe that's the reason. Maybe. So I'm giving them one more try. I'm going to take my phone in, and I'll get into this in a little bit. I'm going to take my phone into the Genius Bar and see what the story is there. Really weird stuff happening to my phone where at some points only half the screen is visible. I'm in Mail, for example, and I've got enough vision to know that there's just a black screen halfway down. And I can, with VoiceOver, I can single finger swipe to the right to go down the list, which I can still do. But the screen itself is blank. I don't know what causes that. There are times when I go to take a picture and I open the camera and the screen just goes black and just repeats the word flash, because the word flash is up at the top. If you are familiar with the iPhone, that's where you adjust the flash. Turn it off, turn it on, leave it on automatic, whatever. And that's the only thing that it will say. I can't get it to do anything. So I tried to make a Genius Bar appointment today. I'm leaving for Austin, Texas on Thursday. Ziggy has a vet appointment, and I'll talk more about him in a little bit on Wednesday. So there's really not any time. Nobody had an appointment for tomorrow, Tuesday, the 30th of June. So I'm giving the Rokids one more chance, and I realized I should do this when I upgraded the software. I don't remember what build it was, but when I did that, for a minute, they worked okay. And I thought, well, maybe it's the phone now. Let me give it a try, so I'll stick with it. But there were times I wore them because I wanted to put them through the paces, and they just would not work either at all or enough to make them worthwhile. I couldn't use them. And when I'm traveling, I'm going to need a pair of glasses. So, of course, I'm going to use the Meta Ray-Bans. Of course, the problem with the Meta Ray-Bans that I have, they're the first generation, so battery life is terrible. So I'll make sure my case is charged, and I will frequently put them in there. But as I mentioned in previous episodes, getting through the Philadelphia International Airport with them back in January when I went to PodFest, outstanding. Getting out of Orlando's airport, outstanding. Getting around the hotel, great. So I'm hoping that's going to be the case going to Austin. Going to Austin for the NFB National Convention. It runs the 3rd through the 8th. I'll be there from the 2nd to the 9th. I'm looking forward to it, but it is a lot of work, and it's been a lot to get ready. Hence, I'm recording this on the 29th of June, and I told you last month that I was going to start doing more of these. I have been doing plenty of recordings, mostly Federation Focus, on the NFB of PA YouTube channel. Check that out at NFB of PA, at NFB of PA over on YouTube. Also, White Canes Connect have a couple of episodes out. I've got one link down below where I talked to someone named Rich Crawford, who is a lifelong member of the NFB, and he's in his 70s, and he talks about going way back into the 60s with the NFB, and basically being mentored by Kenneth Jernigan. Just very cool. Very good interview. Just a good sit down with him. He's based in South Dakota. With everything that I have going on, I thought, you know, what am I going to do I've got so much stuff to post. When I do an episode of Federation Focus, for example, I not only do the episode, I not only edit it, I do all that. I grab the transcript and I have set up in ChatGPT to do a workflow. Gives me the YouTube description based on the transcript, gives me LinkedIn posts and Facebook posts. They're the same. X posts, stuff like that. It also gives me email subject line ideas because we send out to the NFBFPA mailing list. We also send out to the listservs within the affiliate. So there's a lot that goes on with that. Also gives me, we use MailChimp and there's a one-line preview line. It also gives me something for that. So it just makes my life a whole lot easier. In fact, I'll be talking on a committee down at National Convention. The Communications Committee is doing a panel, and I will be one of the panelists to talk about that. So it has made it easier for me. And there's no way I would be able to do that every week, White Canes Connect every week or two, and all the other stuff. And then, of course, trying to get this podcast done, which I really miss doing this because this is on something that I really like talking about, but there's between National Convention now and getting ready for State Convention in November, doing a lot there. I'll get more into that in upcoming episodes, maybe episode 300, which will be the next one. Hopefully it will happen before the end of July. But this is 299. Now, one of the things to help me, as I started to say, is when I was at PodFest, I met a company that has VAs for just about everything. And there's a million companies out there that have VAs. But this one I liked. It was someone who was familiar with the podcasting space and started off that way. It's a husband and wife team. And so I finally bit the bullet and said, you know what, I'm going to try a VA 10 hours a week for the foreseeable future. We'll see how long it goes. I don't know how long it'll last. But already the VA that I have, his name is Adrian, and he has posted a few times over on the White Canes Connect Instagram account at PA Blind Podcast. I hope to get him posting on the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania's Instagram account once we have some material for him there. And then, of course, on my own Instagram account, because when I release an episode of my own podcast, iCantCU, what you are now currently consuming, I never post anything on Instagram because I can't link to it. And I just wasn't really getting it. I wasn't doing it right. Here's the funny part about when I hired Adrian. As I said, it's a company. So when I was on the call to talk to him and bring him onboard him, there's a whole bunch of other people on the call. I want to say maybe 6 or 7 other people. The guy that led the call used every word in the book about not being able to see except blind. It is what it is. And as I've mentioned, I can't tell you how many times in this space, there is not a one-size-fits-all blind. It is a spectrum, not the spectrum of colors, not a capital N, red letter N that unfolds into a spectrum of colors. It is a spectrum. Somebody has a little bit of vision. Hey, I could see colors. That's why we got our red Keystone Chapter t-shirts, because a lot of people, when they have very limited vision, can still see colors. And when you're out and about and you're as a group, it makes it easier for folks to tell where the rest of the group is. But blind is anything from legally blind, which is 20 over 200, to totally blind. And again, there are a boatload of things in between. Blind is blind. That's all it is. It's blind. You can't see. You just can't see. He may have said that, but he never said the word blind, not once, thinking that it was some kind of crazy word that he shouldn't utter. And it just is funny to me that somebody would be afraid to use it. I know it's gotten to the point where so many people are concerned with what they say and they don't want to offend somebody that they, of course, end up offending them because they're not saying the words they should say. And things change frequently. 1 minute it's okay to say this, and then a minute later, nope, you shouldn't use those words. I am telling you, if you see someone walking down the street with a long white cane, they're blind. They can't see. I like to say I can't effing see, but I don't think I've ever used that word on this on this podcast. So I'm not going to start today. Maybe in episode 301. But blind is blind. And that's all there is to it. There's no reason for you not to use those words. It's offensive that I can't see, but to say that I'm blind is not offensive. Just like it's not offensive to call me bald. I am. That's what it is. That's what it is. So again, when you see somebody that is blind, don't beat around the bush. Say, hey, you're blind. I can tell you're blind because you got that long white cane and you got the sunglasses on. And it's just funny how people treat folks. And there's a myriad of other issues when you're blind. And I'm going to hear a lot of crazy things in the next week and a half or so while I'm in Austin with all the crazy stuff that goes on, the way blind students get very limited education when it comes to Braille. Braille's the only way a blind kid can learn how to spell, how to do grammar. We were at a school where blind students were going to be a good chunk of the students there. And they said, we thought Braille was on its way out. How could it be on its way out? Oh, everybody uses audio now. Again, when you use audio and I say, I'm going to grab a lift, does that mean you're going to get in a ride share, LYFT, or you're going to get on an elevator, LIFT? How would you know the difference? You wouldn't know. If you are just listening, you don't know. And so when you see somebody who's blind, don't beat around the bush. They're blind. Now, what I hope to accomplish in Austin, besides all of the stuff that I'll be doing for the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania, selling chocolate-covered pretzels, both dark and milk, from a company in Lancaster called Groff's Candy. We'll also have some peanut brittle from them. And that was pretty good. I sampled them all. I mean, we don't want to go in blindly. See what I did there? So we'll be selling those and a few other things at our exhibit hall table. General sessions, we'll learn a lot. Again, 2 committees that I'm on, the communications committee, the bigger of the 2, and then the web coordinators meeting. I'm not on that committee, actually. I'll be attending that one. It has just been a nightmare with the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania website. I have 3 forms for our state convention, one for attendees, one for exhibitors, and one for sponsors. They all have warning messages up at the top. Now, I don't know about you. I'm okay with releasing the form for attendees because that's just normal, everyday folks like myself or anybody else who is a member of the affiliate or someone who's blind who wants to check out the convention. But when you're asking for $1,000, $2,500, $5,000, even just a couple $100 from a sponsor, and that sponsor, you send the sponsor to that webpage and you see these warnings up at the top, would you donate money for that? I know I wouldn't. It doesn't look professional. And maybe that's not even the worst case. The worst case for me is, oh, this looks like it was built by blind people. Funny thing is, it was built for blind people, but not by blind people. It was built by a developer who is not blind, under contract from the National Federation of the Blind. So that's been an issue. So I'm hoping that we get some clarification there. Otherwise, to reach out to potential sponsors and exhibitors, I may set up something on Shopify to do the various levels of sponsorship. Again, it goes from $25 up to $5,000 or more if you're willing to spend. We already have Waymo for $5,000, and we have a Berks County physician, a specialist for $100. So we're getting them, but we're meeting them either face-to-face or we're talking to them via Zoom and whatnot. Waymo sponsored last year. They're looking to come into both Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. So that's what made that one, I don't want to say easy, but they're interested. But we want to get more. We need more. We're at a fairly expensive place this year, the Hershey Lodge. So we've got to get these sponsors. And we got to get the exhibitors. Now, the exhibitors aren't as big of an issue to me because we have a limited number of exhibit halls tables. So we should be able to get through those. So if you would like to sponsor or exhibit at the 2026 National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania State Convention in November from the 5th to the 8th, please reach out to me here, iCantCU podcast at gmail.com. And don't beat around the bush when you see somebody who's blind. But I'm looking forward to Austin. I know there's In-N-Out Burger there, which I absolutely love. The cool thing about that is I love it. It's very inexpensive, and they have Waymo in Austin, so I'm hoping to get a Waymo to In-N-Out Burger. We'll see how that goes. Hopefully I'll have enough time for that. But I'm looking forward to going. Liz is not going this year, of course, because she'll be here with Ziggy. Jane will also be in Texas, although she'll be in Dallas, not Austin. Almost the same exact time I'm in Austin. She goes the 3rd through the 8th, I think, and I'll be there, like I said, the 2nd through the 9th. So somebody had to stay with Ziggy. We couldn't do anything with him. And while we're speaking of Ziggy, a couple of funny things. I shot a video today. I'm wearing my Keystone Chapter t-shirt today. I shot next week's Federation Focus for the NFB of PA YouTube channel because I'll be in Texas. I don't know if I'll have time to shoot it. I certainly won't have time to shoot it and edit it. So we shot it today. I'll edit it after I finish editing this podcast, and I'll schedule it to come out. They come out Monday in the 12 o'clock hour over on the NFB of PA YouTube channel. So I wore that because we're talking about something that we'll be doing. And when I asked Liz if she would go in with me so she could monitor the camera to make sure top of my head's not cut off. So she did that and was helpful with that. But we decided to take Ziggy because we're Sierra Green, where we are going to be in August 8th. We are going to walk. The NFB is doing this thing. It's the 2nd or 3rd year they've done it. This is the first year Keystone is participating in it. It's called the Coast to Coast Movement Challenge. One of the things with blind folks, I can't see, so I'm just going to sit here on the couch. And we want folks to get up and about and do something, yoga in the park, do a walk. One of the chapters from Chicago did a walk along the river walk there. We're going to walk after our August 8th meeting from the Penn Museum over to Sierra Green. And it is roughly a mile by the time we count everything. The walk from the museum to the entrance to Sierra Green is 3/4 of a mile. But Sierra Green is a park that is up on the 12th floor of a parking garage. So it's about an acre. So we're going to walk over to the garage, walk up the stairs, the 12 flights, and then walk one lap around the park. And I have some footage running here to show you that I was there today and did that walk around the park. So all told, it's probably going to be a little bit more than a mile once all is said and done. And in August, we usually have our quote unquote picnic. The last couple of years, we've done it right at Sierra Green because, again, it's fairly close. We could all walk over there from the Penn Museum, and then we enjoy lunch together after one of our meetings. So this year we added the walk because the NFB really pushed their Coast to Coast Movement Challenge. I'll leave a link down in the description where you can donate if you would like, and you don't have to donate a lot. If you could donate $5, that would be outstanding. It's over on the NFB.org website, but it's a specific long link, and I don't know the whole thing off the top of my head. So I'll leave a link down below. If I can, I'll put the QR code up as well. But we took Ziggy there today, so he loved going around. It was his first time, we believe, his first time in an elevator, and he was a little freaked out by it. He didn't know what was going on. He was a little nervous, but when we got to the rooftop and walked around this park with all the grass and everything else around there and the plantings and the trees and the shade, it's so nice. It overlooks the one side, the eastern side of the park overlooks the Schuylkill River. and the Schuylkill Expressway. You can hear the trains coming into 30th Street Station. It's just very cool up there, literally cool if you're not in the sun. It's a nice breeze, of course, because you're 12 stories up. And it basically covers a city block from 30th to Schuylkill Avenue and from Chestnut over to, I believe, Walnut. It's just nice up there. It's very nice. And they have a covered area that you can sit in to eat lunch or dinner or whatever the case may be. They have a giant screen that they play movies on, and I thought it would be very cool, and I'll approach them about this. But I think it'd be cool to do a fundraiser up there for the National Federation of the Blind of Pennsylvania and maybe run a movie on one of those big screens that has the audio description also going so folks could see. And I don't know what it would take. I know when I inquired before about doing a function up there, minimum was $1,700. Now, this is going back a couple of years, so it's probably more now, probably into the low or mid $2,000 range. But if we could do it as a fundraiser for the affiliate, maybe we could get 100 or 200 people. I think it would be outstanding, and it would be a nice evening to be up top there, again, assuming it's not raining or too ungodly hot like it's going to be the rest of this week, both here and in Austin, Texas. So we walked around there. We stayed roughly, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes to a half an hour. I shot some video. I walked around and shot some video. Liz got Ziggy water, which he didn't drink. He didn't use the grass to go to the bathroom. He was just happy to be up there. And then we got in the car and came home. Now, one of the funniest things, and I'm going to run the video now, I'm going to leave the audio down on that. But one of the things that we've been doing this summer, again, he's got lymphoma. We don't know how much time he has left. He's been in pretty good shape. The only thing that's really kicking his butt is the chemo itself. Now, knock wood, since we're in the 5th round of treatments now. Last week was the first week. Basically goes 4 weeks is 1 round of treatments, 3 weeks of treatment, then an off week with just some blood work. So last week started, and every round, there's been an issue where he didn't have it 1 week because blood count was too low or this or that or the other, or he was sick. At one point, he had lost 10 pounds, and I'll get to that in a second. So he started his 5th round of treatments last week, Wednesday, July 1st. He goes for round number 2. Now, round number 2 is oral medicine. 1st and 3rd are IV. So when he's been having these issues and he's been losing weight where he doesn't want to eat, we started giving him high calorie items. He loves baguettes. He loves soft pretzels. He loves croissants. He just discovered croissants. But one of the things, we started taking him, if we were going to get ice cream, and we would see if they had some sort of dog treat for him. Went to a place in Ridley Park where they have this pup cup where Liz noticed it in the case, but it had a Milk-Bone dog biscuit. Well, Ziggy also has IBD, so the dog biscuit he couldn't eat. So they made a fresh pup cup for him, which was basically soft serve vanilla, peanut butter in a cup, which he loves. But we took him to Dairy Queen a couple of times. And the beauty, of course, of Dairy Queen is the one that's close by has a drive-through, so we don't have to get out of the car. Well, here, as I'm speaking about it, is him freaking out when he realizes he's going to get some ice cream. And he was going nuts. It is hysterical. Now, I mentioned that he had lost 10 pounds. Well, we got it all back for him, then a couple extra. And of course, that hasn't been good for me either, because when I give him something, I will sometimes take a lick, a bite, or a taste, as Jane says, a BLT. And that's where it is an issue for me. And he is now 77 pounds. So I'm interested to see what he is this week. And in all fairness, he also wasn't walking as much. Liz used to take him on 2 walks each day, one in the morning, one in the late afternoon or evening, depending on when it got dark. For 2 walks, each one would be around 2 miles, a little more, a little less, depending on how he was doing. Since he's gotten sick, he's never done the whole circuit. He's done most of it a few times, but Liz usually does this one loop, which I don't remember what the mileage is there. It's roughly a mile, give or take. So when he hasn't been feeling well, she didn't even take him on that. Now he's gotten to the point where at around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, he will start grumbling to Liz and I And I always think when he comes to me, it's for food because I am the one that does that. And when he goes to Liz, it is usually because he wants to go somewhere or take a walk. And it's mostly a walk because he likes getting out and going around. And now that it's going to be hot, we don't know what we're going to do with him while it's so hot out. I don't know if the Springfield Mall, Jane would not like this, but I don't know if the Springfield Mall will allow him to go in just to walk around like the senior citizens that go in there. We're going to find out though. But he loves going for walks, and in there especially, he would be able to, I'm sure, get a lot of steps in. But it is just funny to watch him with the Dairy Queen, and even mentioning the words ice cream, he gets excited. We also have ice cream in the fridge. Ben and Jerry's makes a couple of dog flavors, which they're both pretty good. I'm not saying this because Ziggy told me they were. I've eaten them. Not a lot. Again, a taste. One of them is pumpkin, and that one is better than the other one. The other one is some sort of pretzel and vanilla ice cream and something else. And it's pretty good, but the pumpkin is much better. It's very cinnamony, and you will like it and your dog will like it. If you like pumpkin, you'll like it. So that's the update on Ziggy. Again, he's doing as well as can be expected now. He seems to still be in good shape with the lymphoma. He's got this round, number 5, and then he's got one more round, number 6, and then you go to what's called a maintenance. I don't know what that entails, but once you get to the maintenance, you usually don't start back up with the chemo again. So that's when I guess things really start to head the wrong way. So, but for now, he's doing okay, and he is, he's not himself. There's no doubt about it, but he is still a bit of a golden menace from time to time, which we love to see. And he's doing okay, unless it's a bad reaction to the medicine. So there is all the updates. Again, biggest takeaway here is blind. The word is blind. You can use it to block your windows. You can use it to call people who use those long white canes to get around. Blind. It's blind. I really do appreciate you joining me for this episode of iCantCU, episode 299. It's on sale, $2.99. Please reach out if you've got questions, comments, show ideas, whatever the case may be. iCantCUpodcast@gmail.com, iCantCUpodcast@gmail.com. You can also give me a buzz and leave a voicemail. You've got up to 3 minutes. Leave your name and town. If you do leave a voicemail, 646-926-6350, 646-926-6350. I would love to hear your thoughts on any of the things that I said or any other things you'd like me to touch on. I am excited to try some other glasses. I'm hoping some of the folks in Austin have some smart glasses that I can test out. And of course, if they do, I will tell you about them in an upcoming episode, hopefully number 300, which won't be too long from now. Also reach out on the socials at David Benj, DAVIDBENJ on Instagram and Facebook and X and Threads and Blue Sky, and there's one more. LinkedIn. That's the places I can normally be found. I don't check in on LinkedIn as much as I should, but I do post there. Usually every time I post something, I talk about it there. But I do appreciate you joining me. Check out an additional article over on the website for this episode. Again, that would be $2.99. So it would be iCantCU.com/299, iCantCU.com/299, numerically speaking. And remember, iCantCU sounds like a whole sentence, but it's only 7 characters long. ICANT, capital C, capital U.com/299. Thanks again for joining me for this episode. Be well, stay safe, and I will talk to you in the next episode.